I still remember the version of me that existed when I had nothing. Not nothing in a poetic way. Real nothing, no money, no influence, no backup plan, just hope stretched so thin it almost snapped. Back then, the world treated me like background noise. People heard me, but they didn't listen. They saw me, but they didn't see potential, and she looked at me like I was a phase she needed to outgrow. We met when dreams were louder than reality. I talked about the future like it was guaranteed, like effort alone was enough to bend the universe in my favor. She used to smile when I spoke like that. At first, it felt like belief. Later, I realized it was patience, the kind that waits to see if something improves, and leaves when it doesn't. Life was heavy during those days. Every decision felt like a gamble. Eat properly or save money. Pay rent or invest in an idea that might fail. Sleep or work another hour. I was tired all the time, but I couldn't afford rest. Rest was for people who had safety nets. I was walking on air, hoping it wouldn't disappear beneath my feet. She tried to understand. Or at least that's what I told myself. But understanding has limits when comfort is threatened. Slowly, love turned into questions. Questions turned into pressure. Pressure turned into distance. And distance eventually turned into silence. The day she left wasn't dramatic. No shouting, no tears. Just honesty delivered without mercy. She said she couldn't keep living on promises. She said she needed someone established, someone secure, someone who could give her the life she deserved. I nodded like I agreed, even though every word felt like it was carving something out of my chest. When she walked away, she took more than her belongings. She took the version of me that believed love would wait. After that, everything became quieter. Not peaceful, just empty. Messages stopped. Calls disappeared. Friends slowly faded because struggle makes people uncomfortable. Nobody wants to sit with you when you're losing. They only show up when you start winning. Those nights were brutal. I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, replaying every mistake, every missed opportunity, every moment where maybe I could have done better. There were times I doubted myself so deeply that even breathing felt pointless. But something inside me refused to die. Not hope, something harder. Pride, stubbornness, a refusal to accept that this was all I would ever be. So I worked. Not the glamorous kind of work people post about. The lonely kind. The kind where progress is invisible and failure is constant. I failed more times than I succeeded. I trusted people who betrayed me. I invested in ideas that collapsed. I celebrated tiny wins alone because there was no one left to call. But slowly, things began to change. Not overnight. Not suddenly. Quietly, one opportunity led to another. One lesson saved me from a bigger mistake. I stopped chasing fast money and started building foundations. I learned how systems work. How discipline beats motivation. How consistency turns average effort into unstoppable momentum. I stopped talking about my plans. I stopped proving myself. I stopped asking for validation. I let results speak in a language everyone understands. Time passed. The same people who ignored me started asking questions. The same world that dismissed me began to watch. And I realized something important. Nobody remembers how long you struggled. They only remember how you finished. The moment I truly understood that I had everything wasn't when I saw numbers in my account. It was when I felt calm, when problems didn't scare me anymore, when losing something didn't feel like the end of the world because I knew I could rebuild it. And then she returned. Not because she missed me, not because of love, but because success makes people curious. She sent a message like nothing had happened, like time had erased the past. She asked how I was doing. She said she was proud of me. She talked about destiny and timing and how life is unpredictable. I listened, calmly, respectfully. And I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't want revenge. I didn't need closure. I had already moved past the version of myself that needed her approval. She didn't fall in love with my journey. She fell in love with the destination. And that's when it hit me. People don't abandon you when you're wrong. They abandon you when the wait becomes inconvenient. I didn't ask her why she left. I already knew. I didn't ask her why she came back. That was obvious too. I simply smiled and chose not to reopen a door that only existed because I once needed shelter. Because now I had built my own house. Everything I have today was built on nights nobody saw, pain nobody cared about, and effort nobody believed in. I didn't win because I was lucky. I won because I stayed when everyone else left. This story isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about becoming so strong that abandonment no longer feels like rejection. It feels like redirection. If you're reading this while you're still at zero, understand this. Having nothing is temporary if you refuse to quit. People leaving you doesn't mean you're unworthy. It means they're not built for unfinished versions of greatness. They left when you had nothing. One day you'll have everything. And by then you won't even be waiting for them to notice.